We're on air. Welcome back to Cheche. If you're just joining us, we're speaking to Governor Isaac Ruto of Bomet County. He also happens to be the chairman of the Council of County Governors. And before the break, we were discussing Bomet, your plans for it. You face a conundrum, breadbasket of the country, but one of the poorest countries. And so the question then comes to education. You told us that as MP, you tripled the number of secondary schools. You've also told us that you will redirect your spending towards development,
Yes.
taking the focus away from recurrent expenditure. In practical terms, how is that going to happen?
It is going to happen because, for example, we are now doing budgeting. And what we need to do is to cap our salaries expenditure at 25%. The other 15% is for ordinary administrative costs and other recurrent expenditure. And then the entire 60% will be available for investment. I will then be able to sort out the roads because our people are unable to get out of their houses to take their little produce to the markets. Our mothers are unable to access health care. If we give them proper medication, proper health care, they are able to access their markets. We assist them to develop cooperatives. We will be able to grow their earnings. Our people, Kamau mentioned about, Waweru mentioned about the mindset and the tradition we've been doing, that we are used to doing it this way. I want to tell him that our population, our young population is so educated that they really don't understand why you're doing those things that way.
What about value addition and the link between, say,
Yes.
academics
Yes.
and development? If you have, tertiary institutions that service your industries,
Yes.
which help you research
Yes.
on your industries. Say, for instance, I don't know, with tea, which is exported and then re-exported back into the country.
We must do value addition. And I want to tell you, we have got no shortage of knowledge. We have not even used a tenth of the knowledge available already on the table.
So how are you tapping into that?
We are tapping into that by providing, first of all, infrastructural support. Infrastructural support. You see, our farmer can produce. He understands about fertilizer. He understands about top dressing. He understands about modern techniques.
But because the fertilizer comes from Mombasa,
but after he has
it costs
produced,
too much.
yeah, but after he has produced, where does he sell the product? The product can't move. I want to tell you another year, there was famine in Baringo. People were eating rats and even snakes. And in Chepalungu, in Molo, in Limuru here, there was so much food going to waste. But just about 200 kilometers away, our people are dying. We are unable ourselves in Kenya to move products from the high productivity areas to the deficit areas so that even our people can live.
Mheshimiwa, the national government, again, we come to it.
Yes.
We are now talking about fertilizer. Kenyans know that they can use fertilizer and get good produce.
Yes.
But as we are talking now, as people are suffering because of floods, the subsidized fertilizer is still in Mombasa.
Yes,
when are we going to apply this fertilizer anyway?
Yeah,
even if we have the knowledge, surely.
It's still in Mombasa,
It's
and
still
so
in Mombasa.
therefore any
By the
fertilizer
time
on
it
the market
arrives,
costs way
harvesting,
too much.
that will be
By the
harvested.
yeah, that's harvesting.
Yeah. and
Why
then
do we have to
what
do
happens is the fertilizer could be bought again by the middlemen, and then they will now offload it to the farmers again at a higher price later on.
Right.
So really what we need is discipline within the entire structure and delivery of system. Remember, this is the last time they are importing fertilizer. I will take charge of fertilizer for Bomet. I'll make sure that it will be available for the next seasons.
Okay. So one of our viewers, go ahead.
The issue about technology, about knowledge, and about employment.
Yes.
There are a lot of people who are there as of now in Bomet.
Yes.
Many of them are civil servants, others working for local authorities, the various local authorities.
Yes.
When you set up your system of government and you have your county assembly, what do you want to do with those people?
No, I'm not dealing with people who are in some corner.
But they are working in Bomet.
Right now, there are about three people in the executive, or there is the governor, there is the deputy governor, there is the speaker, and there are the county reps. Yes. We've advertised for the County Public Service Board, yes, which will now establish offices and staff those offices through interviews. So if you qualify for a certain job, you start work in that particular office.
Which means
otherwise, they will
everybody will have to apply for jobs.
Everybody has to apply for the job. That is my understanding.
Is that going to happen throughout the country?
Yes. What else? Because you see, why did we set up the County Public Service Board? They must then be able to interview everybody and also establish offices. And we really talk about our ability to deliver. And we've got to make certain sacrifices if we really have to move out of the square that we are in. If we are unable to make a decision as a country on that, then we are not serious. We are not interested.
But already there are a lot of people posted by the ministry.
Those are temporary.
There are various people posted
to bridge the transition.
It is only to enable. No, it is only to enable transition. By August, they should all leave unless they have been employed by those counties.
Okay, there are lots of questions from our viewers actually. On Marks from Lemura, who will be handling small family issues, or will we be going to the courts now that we don't have chiefs?
We still have chiefs, and I want to tell you that the ideal situation is that probably those chiefs should move over into the county government structures, and we are not doing away with that. They should read fourth schedule, I think, second part 2, paragraph 14. It says that is a function now of county governments. We'll set up structures of dispute resolutions and such like it, participating in governance by counties. So those structures will be there. We are not telling people go away and no one does their function. It is functions that have been assigned.
Okay, we've got 10 minutes of extra time. Governors must be held accountable on performance. Your assumption, as you were telling us earlier, that you signed a performance contract with the voters, the people of Bomet, is a lie.
Why?
You're being challenged on your point that voting constitutes a performance contract.
Okay, what is a performance contract for politicians? With whom should they sign? With the head of public service? That is a fallacy. That does not happen anyway. We are not subject to the public service.
What contract do you
What contract would you, with whom would I sign a contract? Yeah, we are thrown out according to our performance. And remember, there is this time round the question of recall. If you are not performing, the people of Kenya have a right to recall you back.
Okay. Irene from Kisumu, the Ministry of Public Works was ready to build offices and residences for governors. Money had been set aside, but parliamentarians, I think this is what you were talking about, stop the process. Administrators are also Kenyans and have this country at heart. So someone is taking issue with you sort of painting, sort of accusing everybody on the other side of trying to stall devolution.
If they support the process, let them facilitate it immediately. That is what we are saying. Let them release
in any case, about that construction that they wanted to do, those are people who wanted to spend money for government. You cannot build county assembly places where the people themselves have not designed it.
For instance, they were going to build for Bomet an assembly that houses about 80 or 85. And yet we cannot have more than 35. So what are we talking about? And how are they going to, and they were going to spend
the places.
140 billion on offices.
Those people just want
to spend government money. Right. We are aware that public works have been, if you tell them to cost a classroom, they'll tell you it will cost you 1.5 million. I am able to build a classroom with CDF at about 500,000, and it is a classroom equally satisfactory. So we took issue with the way public work costs our buildings.
Right. This from Bonnie, I think in a window. Please tell us if the debts, and this has been an issue in the media, please tell us if the debts that were owned by the council, by various councils, will be owned and paid by county governments.
Yes, to some extent, and we are going to process that through the discussion under intergovernmental relations structures. Part of the agenda for the summit will include an item like that.
And so some viewers are correcting us. The Act of Parliament that established a new National Administration Service, clearly outlining its functions, exists. So the PA is already being restructured. I believe that's the provincial administration, which someone else says, how can the four of us ignore that there's a National Coordination Act 2012? Isaac Ruto knows too well that the provincial administration was restructured. Stop fooling us.
Well, how was it restructured? Are you aware that the PC is in office? Are you aware that the DC is in office? Are you aware there is another commissioner in office? What is that restructuring you are talking about? The National Administration Act in fact, gives powers to cabinet secretary to establish various offices and whatever through regulation without even subjecting to parliamentary approval. I have read that act, and I would like him to tell me what he's talking about. You don't just say it has been restructured. What does the act say? If he can tell me what it is he says, what is restructured using that act, I want to tell him that nothing has been restructured.
Okay. So there was also a question about, and you alluded to this earlier in the program, but we didn't get into it. The payment, the salaries at your oversight institution, you know, your county assembly, you're agitating for it to increase. But then there's also a question about the quality, and I think where you were making that point, the quality of the county representatives. How do you see that playing out?
Right.
Given, as you say, you'll be managing billions of shillings.
This is a better county assembly than it was before. For example, in my county assembly, I've got about 4 of them who have got degrees. I have got some who have been in public service. I have one with a master's. Really, this is an improvement. And a number of these people went into this on the understanding that the salaries will be reasonable. They left their jobs because they were told these are legislative function with the same academic requirements for a member of parliament. What reason do you have to pay a member of parliament 500,000 and pay a member of county assembly 70,000 shillings? Remember, such a person in Nairobi, as a councillor, was earning 300,000 in Nairobi last time, or is it 200,000? It was definitely not 70,000. Because where will you live in Nairobi with that kind of arrangement, and yet you are supposed to provide oversight? Now, we are saying as governors that members of our county assemblies should be facilitated reasonably, so that when they are providing that oversight responsibility, they don't go to the vendors to give them some support.
That will bring about serious corruption.
Serious corruption. Because they will be compromised.
I think, Mheshimiwa, the issues of quality of the county reps.
Yes.
In Bomet, we may be lucky. In other places, it may be worse.
Yes.
And then the governor for West Pokot, he came and said he has 2 of them who are illiterate.
Yes.
And he was saying, how do I deal with these 2?
I remember there was a county in Western where they were saying they even be using vernacular, because some of them do not understand Kiswahili or English. But then the issues of quality, and then how they are able to check on you. For example, in a county where
we have 3 minutes, sir, so
where the county is dominated by reps from one party, the governor is TNA or URP or ODM, and everybody else is ODM or WIPA.
Remember, oversight is no longer just a reserve for county reps. It's also done by the public. It's in fact even done by yourselves, members of the press. You check what's happening and you report, and things then are picked up from there. But I want to say that, how do we improve the quality? We give them a better salary so that next time my friend here will be vying for one of those positions because he thinks it's okay.
If I had there was 70,000, I would not go for it.
He would not go for it.
70,000.
If you give him fair remuneration, then we will improve that institution. We demean those institutions by giving them poor salaries, and then we start saying they are illiterate, and therefore we end up destroying.
Just one last one thing, Mheshimiwa, and I disagree a bit with Mutegi. You see, you don't go for a job, then you start asking for a pay, because you already know.
But that's what the legislators, yes, that's
that's the problem you're having, Mheshimiwa, that the governors go, the MPs go, the county reps come, and then they start saying that this money is too little. Yet, when you are going for that job, you knew exactly how much.
And then they threatened.
Let me correct you. The salaries that were published before were much higher than what later on turned out to be. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission had published that county reps will earn 149,000, and some house allowance that was going to take it to over 200,000. Yeah. When they reported, they were told, no, it is 79,000. It is not 149,000 as it was advertised.
But it was not the commission of Sara Serem. Remember, they got views from the members of the public. The people who employed you, Mheshimiwa, are the ones who said, I want my governor to earn this, I want my MP to earn this.
Why was it
is not the commission. It is going to the public, and the public gave views, and they said, this is what we think a member of parliament should earn.
There was a professional body that was contracted by Salaries and Remuneration Commission that did evaluation, and they gave completely different salaries from what was then put in place. So there is need to recheck that. It is not a wild claim. It is not greed. These are serious issues that have to be addressed.
So let's be clear. You're saying that the MPs have a legitimate case in requesting higher salaries, or are you talking about
salaries? I'm not talking about MPs.
You're talking about the county reps.
I'm talking about the county reps.
Okay.
Even the county reps, in my view, deserve.
The MPs knew.
They didn't know.
They did know. They did know because it was published just before the elections.
Exactly.
Just before the elections. So they had the choice to withdraw from the race if they wanted to, on the basis of the salary. But they cannot take Kenyans for a ride.
Not even that would work. The issue is, where on earth did the employee dictate to the employer how much to earn? It's only in Kenya, where after you have got the job, you start now telling me, you must pay me this. Yet it is me who is the employer, who is supposed to be telling you, I have this job for this pay. I think we have no quarrel. I want the county reps to be paid well.
And that will be your final question.
For quality, so that we can attract better people, yeah?
Yes.
But again, this issue of pay. And even I want the governors to be paid well, because I'm sure they are going to do quite a good job when they get down to work. But the problem is where they themselves, I wish they had a way, somebody to say it for them, rather than them demanding it from them.
And I want to make it once again a clear correction that the governors have never talked about their own salaries. We have been talking about salaries as a management tool.
No, we're out of time. No. Please respond and give us your final thought.
My final thought is that I would like to request Kenyans to give an opportunity to devolution, and I want to promise that we are going to deliver. I'm talking on behalf of the governors. We are focused, and we definitely know what we intend to do, and we will not let down Kenyans.
Excellent. So that's where Cheche ends this week, with our appreciation to Governor Isaac Ruto of Bomet County, and all the best to you and your fellow governors as you seek to improve the lives of Kenyans all over the place. Our thanks also to panelists Mutegi Njau and Oweri Mburu, both of Royal Media Services. I'm Odwa Kamimo. Enjoy the rest of your week.